Well, Kamala Harris, we have to make sure we support.
Vice President Kamala Harris.
Vice President Kamala Harris. We have to make sure we support, we promote, and we help her out because they are attacking her. Now, since Biden dropped out of the 2024 presidential election and endorsed her, it seems like they made so many different things. They called her a DEI candidate. They accused her of sleeping her way to the top. They call her unlikable.
She's heard it all before. Like you got to understand, Kamala Harris has been the first at everything she's done, whether it was Attorney General, whether it was Senate, whether it was Vice President. She's heard all of these rooms before. These are the greatest hits. Okay.
Well, Alec Lacey, who's an author and a podcast host, he was on Fox Business Network. He compared her to somebody I don't think she's ever been compared to.
Yeah, and then there's the DEI press secretary telling you that the DEI vice president is the future of the party here. And so the future looks kind of dim for the Democrats here, but this is no shocker either. Kamala Harris, she's the original Haktua girl. That's the way she got where she is. And the party's going downhill if it's in her hands.
That was tough. That was harsh.
The Haktua girl, though?
Well, the worst part about that wasn't the fact that he called her the Haktua girl. It was saying that that's how she got to where she is.
Correct.
That's not how she got to where she is. But
oh, poor Kamala Harris. Poor Kamala Harris. I mean, the stuff that she has to deal with, it must be due to misogyny and racism. It must be. I mean, Donald Trump, he doesn't have to deal with the stuff, does he?
Trump's vice president pick, Senator J.D. Vance, he also attacked a bunch of people, and we're talking about that the White House and Democrats have nothing but cat women. But he also added people to judge.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable, too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
Pete got 2 kids.
I guess you're trying to call him a catwoman. He's trying to. It's just stupid.
Pete has 2 kids. That's number one. Number two, you don't know what AOC wants to do in the future. Number 3, you gotta stop talking like that because you don't know why people don't have kids. You don't know if it's something. You don't know if they can't have them.
They can't have kids.
You don't know if they've made the choice not to have them, and if they have, that's on them. You don't know if they've had, abortions for whatever reason. You don't. That's literally like walking up to a woman. Choice. That's right. That's like walking up to a woman who got a big stomach and being like, "How many months are you?"
Yeah, are you pregnant?
And then you realize she's not. Mind your goddamn business.
Well, Whoopi Goldberg responded.
Sir, there are people who have chosen not to have children.
That's a fact.
For whatever reason. There are people who want to have children who cannot. How dare you?
That is a fact, too.
You never had a baby. Your wife had a baby, but you never had a baby. So you know nothing about this. And how dare you? And women, you heard how he thinks of you.
Yeah.
This is not good for you, J.D.
See, the problem is, Charlamagne, you're telling people to be quiet, to mind their own business. But again, this country is his business. That's what politics is all about. Again, you want people to speak. If they agree with the left, they agree with you, you want them to speak. But again, if they disagree with you, you don't want them to speak. Especially if it's about black or brown issues and they're white. Oh my God, how dare you? You're not black. You're not black, you black. You can't talk about this. You're not a female. You can't talk about that. Yeah, they can. And they should. Everyone should have an opinion on whatever. And again, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what sex you are. Again, we have truly got to understand people with kids, they have more of a stake in the country. They think about the future. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Charlamagne. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But again, you can't say it. Because you might offend somebody. And that's what the problem is. And that's why Trump has become so popular. Because he's willing to say whatever he has to say, no matter what. No matter who he offends. And that's the only way we're going to be able to get to any kind of a truth.
Comes to, you know, the Supreme Court abolishing Roe v. Wade and Donald Trump taking credit for the Supreme Court abolishing Roe v. Wade, when you have somebody like Kamala Harris, who is a woman, she can speak to all of that in a different way. Because everything Whoopi Goldberg said is absolutely true. As a man, we never even have the choice to decide whether we're going to have a baby or choose a career. Some women have had to make that choice. As a man, we don't know anything about not being able to have kids. As a man, we don't know anything about having an abortion. You paid for some, but we've never had one. So she's going to wash him on that topic every single time. That's why they don't bring it up.
And that's why you said
I don't know why J.D Vance even bring that up.
J.D Vance, mind your business.
Mind your business. The conservatives are not going to win that debate.
I mean, you got to be honest. These guys, man, they're so beta. I mean, they really are. They can't speak to anything. They're too afraid. You can't speak to that. You're not a woman. You're not black. You can't speak to that. Again, you can only speak to something if you're part of that group. No, you know what? In fact, with abortion, I mean, majority of cases are wrong. I mean, again, you're killing a life form inside of you. I mean, again, I'm not saying that I would restrict it if I had the power, but again, I'm going to speak up and say it's wrong, and say the reasons why. But I mean, you can do what you want to do, man. If you want to kill your own kid, kill your own kid. But again, I think it's wrong. I know it's wrong. But the fact of the matter is, man, men, they're like, well, you can't speak to that because they're not male. And again, like I said before, that's what the problem is right now. You're telling people they can't speak to something if they're not part of that group. And that's why Trump is so popular. Because again, you see things happening in your country. But again, especially if you're a white male, you can't talk about this. You can't talk about that. You're not a person of color. You're not black. You're not female. You can't talk about this. Oh, yes, I can. And I'm going to. And I'm going to vote that way too. And if you don't like it, so the hell what? We've got to get back to that point in this country to where we say what's on our mind and vote that way. And not be afraid to say what's on our mind. And not be afraid to be called whatever name. But guys, man, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.
You son of a